All right, YouTube fan, welcome to DLS back again. This is the show where we talk about our love for our country, our continent. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking more about dislike and, hatred for our country. But we do love our country, we do love our continent, but we just have to say things that are pretty much true, right? We think we can do better as a country, as a continent, but apparently our leaders are not up to the task. So we gotta come here and say what's on our mind, and hopefully they hear us. Think they're gonna hear us?
Those who have ears are listening.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the social media age. One day they'll chance on it.
And it's not just that. There's a lot of platform doing the same thing. We're trying to get them to sit up and do what's right. All right, so we do not want to waste too much time on gibberish. Without further ado, we're gonna go back on Cheddar, right? This is where DJ Khaled is gonna be like another one. So another one back again with Cheddar. He's been on this media tour, right? Yeah. So this is like one more pit stop on his media tour, and this time it was at Peace FM, and he had a very interesting conversation with the one and only Kwame Sefa. We all grew up listening to this guy, right? So he's pretty much a veteran in the game. And there's been a lot of trendy clips and snippets from that interview, and we're here to discuss that. So please stay tuned, and this is where we pause and we say, please subscribe. We appreciate you. Without you, we cannot keep doing this. So keep watching, subscribe, forward, share it to your friends. All right, so we go back to Cheddar, right? The man of the hour. Like he said, he's called the king of headlines. He knows how to generate headlines. So one more time, he's riding the waves in Ghana. This time, I just want to start off by a general overview. What did you think about the interview? In general, what did you think about it? We all saw it.
You want should I be blunt?
Of course you got to be blunt. That's what we're here for. Nothing else. But the truth.
The truth is, he needs to change his approach to...
You mean Cheddar himself? Not
Cheddar, yeah. No. Because, listen, most of the radio stations, the top ones that we know, they have an agenda. We know them. It's either A or B, right? Those people working there, we also know they have, So, anytime he goes there, that is how I see it, they pretend like they're doing their job. But by doing so, they do expose themselves. Big time. So for me, the whole interview, it's a waste of time.
So you felt like there was an agenda behind the interview?
There is always an agenda when they interview him, because the energy they use towards him and the way they want to actually try to expose him, but they expose themselves, I kind of see there's an agenda, right? So for me, if I have an advice for him, he should rather look for people like us who want to know what actually he wants to do, and then we can tell the story because we are quite youthful. We've seen the old way of interviewing and whatever, and it hasn't paid in any way. So for me, the interview, I don't know. For me, the way I've seen it, they've had interviews like that with people, actually politicians, for years, and they don't do bad.
All right, cool. What do you think?
I agree with him when he talks about interviewers having allegiances, agendas, and all that. But I would like to move a little away from that and also say that I think maybe we'll talk about this in depth, but I think he has to, Cheddar, he has to look at different ways of communicating when he goes to these media houses, because it seems like Ghanaians haven't known anything else for the past 4 or 5 decades. It's mostly bipartisan, NDC, MPP. So getting an individual coming in with a very strong force is kind of threatening to people and some interests. And so it's hard for people to accept that there is a new force coming in. It doesn't matter if it's winning or not, but it's really hard for people to get that aspect. And I think that if he wants to make an impact, he has to, first of all, he needs a platform, yes, but he has to choose how and when he goes to interviews, choose where he goes and what he wants to be asked. And I just will throw this thing in that I think, again, the questions that are being asked to him are not the questions that should be asked to him.
Exactly.
What he's coming in for, his main motive for running for presidency, as he has already mentioned, is to help the country develop. But time and time again, when he goes to these interviews, they keep asking questions about, well, they are right to ask those questions, but how long they dwell on questions that are not so relevant to the development of Ghana, for me, that's what worries me. Because they've wasted so much time on his past, his petition to Electoral Commission, this and that. I would like to, in these interviews, hear more about the future, because I'm tired of hearing all these things about Electoral Commission and whatnot. I want to hear concrete plans that you have and how you're going to execute them. So I think that the interviewer should move on to that aspect rather than wasting time on all these questions about registration and all those things. You can ask them, but don't dwell too much on it. Let's get into the future. Let's
all right, cool. Let's also try to get into the what?
The interview.
The interview. All right, cool. Let's keep going. All right, so I mean, like you said, I cannot really attest to that by saying that the hosts of the interviewers are
in the pockets of
biased, right? They have like political affiliations. But my question is, do you think there's such a thing as neutrality? Like, can you really be neutral in terms of politics? So I do not support either parties. I am super neutral. Is it a part you will always have to lean towards one
the
party?
profession demands
that you be neutral. But can you really
being
be
human? Being human, I can attest to it. Being human, sometimes you would lean to
you will lean towards one party.
Yes, towards one part. But it doesn't actually change the fact that the actual questions, the critical questions that needs to be answered or needs to be asked will be ignored.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So you can ask those critical questions and push it with your bias. At the end of the day, I will not sit here and criticize you. I will see that you're looking for something. He needs to convince you. What he's doing, what Cheddar is going around doing is trying to convince us. So if you want to convince somebody, how do you convince me? Oh, okay, you said you can do this and that and that. How is it possible? This person and this person have been able to, we've given them that power for the past 10, 20 years. They've not been able to do it with a similar promises. So how are you going to do it? Convince me. I have a bias, but it is a question everybody needs
about
answers
relevancy.
for.
Yeah, cool. I got it. So what do you think about his demeanor? I'm not talking about Cheddar. Kwame Sefa kind of demeanor. I mean, the whole interview, for me personally, I felt like he had this lax posture, right? That for me, I don't know, it was kind of like emitting a bit of, I don't know, not taking the interviewee like seriously. You know what I mean? Because we've seen a lot of like interviews amongst like, you know, I mean, I watch 60 Minutes, CNN, Oprah, and everything, right? You know, you got to sit up, prop up if you really talk. Like, if you're talking to Trump, you're talking to, like, any presidential aspirant or candidate, you know, there's something called decorum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody's going to travel, spends his time, energy, and he's there, right? So at least sit up, prop yourself up. And we've seen a lot of, like, you know, guys do it in Ghana. It's not like we're going to bash them out. I saw Beku Santanes, I've seen Bella Mundis, right? They spoke to him like, you know, like their peer, so to speak. But this, it felt like he was just laid back on his phone, on iPad, and just kept like, you know, nodding his head and then throws the next question up. So I felt, I don't know, I didn't really like his demeanor throughout the entire interview. What do you think?
Besides that, I think you've said it all. And besides that, I think even the duration of these interviews for me is too long. If you want to know something about a presidential aspirant and you ask the relevant questions, it shouldn't take you over 1 hour.
Exactly.
Everything should be boom, boom, boom.
Your
Exactly.
answer is
it should be 45
you know?
minutes. You ask relevant question, he gives an answer. If there's a follow-up, you ask it quickly, he clarifies, you move on to some, because people want to know 1,000 things about this guy.
Yeah.
So when you get a chance, ask relevant questions, get the answers quickly from him. If you need clarification, ask him to clarify. Your your job or duty as an interviewer, I'm not a journalist, but what I think is...
Or something like this common sense, right?
You represent the people.
It is.
You represent the people. That's why Cheddar himself said that he likes Oprah's mode of asking questions. She asks you the question, you explain yourself, and she moves on. Yes. She doesn't make any inferences or try to analyze it. The analysis stays with the public.
Yeah.
Asking the questions, let him explain himself. You move on to the next question.
The listeners will have to kind of like form their own
opinions about it. Yeah, exactly.
You remember the last conversation we had about a similar topic here, and I said most of our journalists, and I'm keeping it to Ghana alone. The Ghanaian journalists, they've known a certain way, and it is their way or no other way. But we've moved on. The world has moved on so much that they still don't get it, because they own. I won't say they own the radio stations as presenters, but they've been there so much. And there is a proverb. When I'll say it in my language, "Kenu mahekwe isha." It means when you have a stagnant water in a particular place for a time, it smells.
Yeah.
Exactly. They don't know any other thing. It smells, but they cannot smell it because that is what they've known. You just said something. You ask a question, answer. If you feel like you are not satisfied with the answer, get him to explain it just a little bit better.
Yeah.
But one thing, they will go over
15, 20 minutes on the same thing.
Just wait up.
So this is like the second time, and the second journalist we kind of like pretty much dismantling, so to speak. But the interesting thing that got, I think, the whole buzz is about the EC's continuous registration, right?
Right.
It looked as if Kwame Sefa was so sure, right? He was asking the people in the background if they knew it or not. And they also said, what? Yeah, we know about stuff like that. We know there's a continuous registration. And Cheddar was like, no, there is no such thing. But for me, the remarkable thing was he had the timetable in his hand. Official timetable that was sent out to the public. And still they were defiant, saying, no, he did not know.
Cheddar, we're a limited voter registration. Obia with the 18. Yasuku Truding. That is what it is.
No. I say call register and you're Truding, Kwame.
And so, who Truding register?
Debbie. Truding is different from registration. Registration.
Who Truding in your registration?
Kwame. Registration is a process. You depend on Utra picture, Uye Bibia, and Tanya Mao card. And me Ankasama corner mushroom. And you didn't rock it. Didn't rock the say, no, I had to say.
So, who could you voter ID card? And you know,
Debbie. Uko register, uko GIA different. Ebia uwo bi dada na ayira na uko GIA no de information ni nyina o system ni so dada enti o betimi replace amount. Enti one day ukada ayira went me
but your 30th May to when?
And one on the 30th May pe.
Okay, na me dey come am say to 14th June.
There be o me ba 14th June is different.
You
have a catch up. So timetable no ha.
Yo.
No, so my thing is, in a situation like that, which Cheddar actually asked that follow-up question and Kwame kind of dodged it, he's like, how come a veteran like Kwame Sefa did not know this? Why was he pushing that opinion that there is this continuous thing going on? And he said, it's been what? It's like, what was the tree thing he said? It was like, it's been publicized. It's been publicized. The public has been like, educated about it. Where and when, nobody knows. So why was he so sure?
Listen, that goes to tell you the whole journalism style in Ghana. They don't get challenged. They don't get exposed. Because most of the time, those people who go for interviews, they see it as an opportunity. And I say this, Shatta has said it before. They make you feel like they are doing you a favor. But actually, you are doing them a favor by being on their programs and making their programs known.
Yeah.
But because they've known a certain way, it is my program. I say what I say. You take it. I ask you a question. If I'm not happy with you, the way I want you to answer it, that is how you answer it.
Yeah.
And that was why he was exposed, and he was exposed big time, because like his caliber, somebody like him, he shouldn't be exposed like that.
Right.
You cannot go on somebody like Larry King show, and he interviews you, and you never.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
But why? Because somebody like Larry King knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So the thing is, like you said, I feel like it's a win-win. I mean, they give you like, exposure by being on their platform, and they get their ratings going up because Cheddar is kind of like, trending. He's riding the waves, like I said. So I think it's a win-win for both interviewer and interviewee, or the station and the interviewee. But the question again is, why was he so sure?
I think I'll start by saying that's why I miss journalists like Komla Dumont of blessed memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If he was employed by BBC, it wasn't for nothing.
Yeah.
When we're growing up, he and a few other journalists like him were the kind of people we all listened to in the morning.
Yeah.
In the morning, every radio station and Trotro or whatever, they were all tuned to Joy.
Yeah.
Why? Because even people who were non-educated or partly educated wanted to listen to his shows, because when you see him and the amount of documents he has in front of him in the morning, he works so hard, wakes up early, does his research. So by the time you arrive, at the studio, he has facts that he's going to ask you directly about. I pulled this data says this and this and that. Though there's no way for you to say that, okay, this is wrong, this is right. There's no even argument that the fact is there. So I think that this happened because, again, it just looks like our journalists, most of them have been in the same place for so long, and they've become sort of authority in that station.
Thank you.
And so they kind of feel like my name speaks for me. Whatever I say, nobody can challenge.
Yeah.
But that is not even the point. The point is, it doesn't matter if you're an amateur journalist or seasoned journalist. You have to prepare yourself before you meet an interview. And heck, if you are going to interview somebody, sometimes even behind the scenes, there is communication between you and the person you're going to interview.
Yeah.
Okay, we have an interview at 8 o'clock tomorrow. What are the issues we should discuss? I want to ask you about this and this and that. And the person says, okay, I'll prepare on that. Because sometimes even someone might have good points to give at the interview, but if you put them on the spot, they don't know exactly what they were going to talk about, or like vaguely some of the topics they're going to talk about. You put them on the spot, it is an unfair situation because it's going to be hard for them to be able to process their thinking right on the spot. Sometimes it's necessary, but on major issues, behind the scenes, everybody should know, okay, we're going to talk about this and this and this and that. So you can prepare, the interviewee can prepare as well. Then you can deliver a better message to the people who are listening to you. But if you just come and sit there in the morning and he walks in, then you're just going to be asking questions haphazardly, and his answering is also not going to be on point. So you both are going to be at fault.
Yeah.
So I just think that it is coming from the fact that, one, some of the journalists think that they've been doing it for a long time and they have a big name so they can do whatever they want. And two, I just think that they don't prepare enough before these interviews.
Good journalism should challenge people.
Yeah, cool. All right, this is where we pause and we say, please subscribe to the channel, or share the link, or
Keep watching.
or leave your comments down there, because
Just like Alpha Hour, share the link, share the link.
Yeah, the most important thing is you leave your opinion, so we kind of know what you guys also think about it. Now, I just don't want us to drag this for too long. My next big question is, okay, after Kwame realizing he was wrong by calling the EC personnel of Mr. Doctor, right?
Yeah.
Kweku something.
Cerebral Kwaku or Kweku, I'm not really sure what the last name was. Why did he not take that opportunity, right? He said he was wrong, let's move on. But I feel like they should not have moved on.
Yes.
He should have used that opportunity to reinforce, right, that education by telling people, yo, dear listeners, right, this is what I knew, but apparently it's not so.
Yeah.
So if anybody's listening, this is the timetable, and this is the limited registration period, and after that's done, that's it.
Yeah.
Right, so people can be aware that, okay, because it might be possible Kwame is not the only guy who knows about this continuous registration.
Yeah, he has the.
So that's my point. So why did he not use that opportunity to educate, like, his listeners, as opposed to just saying, you were right, we were wrong, let's move on?
So there again, clearly you can see that it was kind of a thing of like, you win or I win. It was about me.
Yeah, but it wasn't about winning and losing, right?
It shouldn't be
public
about
education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know and you were corrected there, that shouldn't be anything of shame. It should be an opportunity, like you said, for you to reinforce that. But the fact that he said, okay, let's move on, it makes it personal. it makes it seem like, okay, we're arguing now, you've won, let's move on.
Yeah.
So it doesn't tell the story that you're actually doing it for people, but you're just kind of like having this debate
to people
with
by saying, okay.
You cannot make good news out of bad practice. For me, that is how I see it. You are the one interviewing. You goofed, and it happens. It happens. Maybe you got your sources wrong. You got your information wrong. Hey, public, this goes to tell you once again the kind of gibberish we get fed, or they're feeding our people. Back in the most of them, or some of them. I respect, and I actually love him. I respect Kwame Sefa a lot. But watching this particular interview got on my nerves a little bit. You goofed, you made a huge mistake. Apologize properly. Don't just brush it under the carpet and say, "Oh, okay, we've got it wrong." So no, people are listening. Yeah. Maybe just after you confirming that you know that thing has already started.
No, for me, I felt like the apology was actually misplaced. You know why? Because I feel like it should have been to the general public.
It should have been,
but not directly to Cheddar, right?
Not to both, because he challenged Cheddar. But what I'm saying is, he had the opportunity to actually re-inform the public, like you said. Educate them, and then whatever information again you have, you add it on top, and then you continue, and then you apologize, then you continue. That is what I expected from him, right? But he didn't.
Yeah.
And this is where we talked about the I am me.
Yeah, the pompousness, right?
Yeah, I am me. Okay, you are you. They called the doctor, like we always worship people with, and he confirmed again that what you sat on radio saying, it is wrong. A second opportunity to apologize.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, for me to apologize to the public and be like, okay, I was misinformed, so sorry for kind of like misleading the public. Yeah. So I'll take this opportunity to kind of tell or let everybody know this is not the case. So if you're listening, yada, 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 yada. Well, but anyways, let's move on from that as well.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing on my mind was why... Cheddar also gave him a list, right? He had like, he wrote a letter and he said he copied like a little like, states, organizations and the judiciary and whatnot. But then the guy was on the phone and Kwame did not also ask the guy like blatantly, why are you guys not responding to Cheddar's letters?
And then
because it was almost like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You didn't ask him that and you just let the guy, leave. But like you specifically said, I mean, he was busy, but this is part of the job, right?
Yeah.
You're serving the public. And the guy said, a citizen, right, a presidential aspirant, has written a letter to your outfit, and it's been 2 weeks, he's got no response. So I didn't know why he did not ask him this question.
So imagine somebody like you, right? You feel aggrieved. You want answers to some of the questions around our election.
He did not reply to a guy like that.
It'll never come, yeah.
Then you forget.
I mean, even if you say, okay, you are busy with the registration, so you reply later. Usually, sometimes some of these interim replies are just an email away. 5 lines. We've received your blah blah blah. Forgive us. We are busy with the voter registration.
But it also depends on the caliber of person actually. Like,
so that's what I'm saying.
The email, like I'm saying,
it's actually
it wasn't like an ordinary person.
Yeah, exactly.
Ordinary person. Then forget.
Yeah.
He said almost 10 days plus.
Yeah.
What kind of democracy are we democratic?
And they extended the voter registration for 2 days.
Yeah.
So it means that maybe all the noise he made even before they started, maybe of course they heard about it and they just wanted to do something to compensate for it, so they increased by 2 days. But even if they increase the days by 2 days, it simply means that there was something wrong. It means things were not going right. So all the whatever suggestions he was making makes sense.
Yeah.
At least you should have a listening ear, because if you're extending it, it means you haven't finished it. There are problems. That's why you're extending. Yeah. So it's worth listening to.
All right. So the whole continuous registration, limited registration brouhaha. Can we really kind of like unpack that?
I think Cheddar explained on several platforms the reason why he was opposing the 20 days.
The limited registration.
Because he said if someone between now, if someone at this registration period turns 18, And because there are limited number of
After the limited registration, when they turn 18, after that.
even during,
Okay.
because they said the number of polling station registration centers has been reduced drastically. So sometimes some people have to travel like 5-10 kilometers to get to the closest
To register.
the closest registration
yeah,
center. So if someone is 18 and is in school right now, the schools have not gone on holiday.
Yeah.
How is he going? Some people don't even have birth certificates.
Thank you.
He has to go and get a birth certificate before he does his Ghana card, wherever, before he can go and register. So you're saying that right from this registration stage until the December elections, all the people who are going to turn 18, they are going to be disenfranchised.
Yes.
Which is a huge number of people. Imagine
Yes,
all
yeah,
those in
it
high
is,
school who are
it is.
coming out. Now, if these people don't get a chance to register, it means they are not going to get a chance to vote.
Yeah.
Which means that they will only be able to vote when they are 22 years old.
Yeah.
Which means from now until the next 4 years, they had no decision. They had no
Their decision, they are not part of the decision.
decision making of
Yeah.
our election. So that's the main reason why he was saying that no, they should span it for a longer period, maybe a month or so, or a month and a half before the election, so that it gives people the chance to process their documents and to be able to register. And he said that if the EC doesn't do that, it will disenfranchise all those people in that category. And that's a huge number.
It makes sense because which day? The election is usually
December 7th.
December 7th.
Yeah, I heard they were trying to move it.
The court squashed it.
Okay.
I think it was
So it means that if, let's say, they've given 10 days.
Yeah.
I turn, let's say, 18 next week.
Yeah.
No, let's say tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today is Monday, yeah. Let's say tomorrow I turn 18.
Yeah.
But today is the last day. It means I cannot register. So what happens from today, or from the beginning of the year, or the time the date they set, till let's say a week or 2 weeks before the general election?
All those people who turn 18 can't vote. That's it. So it's either
This is why
I don't understand our system.
Yeah, but this is why Cheddar's got a gripe with the whole system,
Yeah.
right? This is what, and I feel like this interview actually put him in a
good light.
good light.
Yeah.
Because this is exactly what he's kind of opposing and fighting for.
Yeah.
Like it's an election year, right? You have an election coming. That's what he's saying. You need to conscientize. You need to educate the masses, especially the youth.
Exactly.
Right? They are actually like the what you call it? What's the word
The next
again?
generation, man.
Yeah, not even that. It's like they constitute the most number of what you call it? Votes. Votes or populace?
Population,
or, They, I think he says 70%.
Yeah, it's about 70,
people below the age of 45, something like that. So they need to understand and know what's going on. So this is exactly
then we are
what.
a lot.
What do you mean? The youth? The people below 45?
The youth, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're part of the 25, above 45.
Yeah, that's...
No, I mean the
ancestor.
75.
Yeah, 75. 75 year old and up, you're part of that group. Yes, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, the interview was not all that bad. He asked like some pretty good questions. Kwame did a great job, but I felt like he could have done better, right?
Yeah.
Then again, it highlights most of the problems that Cheddar has been talking about on his whole campaign trail about, the system not being really, really kind of like, solid.
Yeah.
It has to be overhauled.
Yeah.
I mean, to say the least, right? Because it's an election year. People need to know what's going on. They need to understand what the ins and outs of what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it feels like people are totally blind to whatever concept, approximating, like I said, discombobulation of...
We do have a bad culture back home.
Of the people, like you said, like the blind following the blind.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, right, somebody like Kwame Sefa not knowing and understanding something, and then you're talking about the average nobody.
Average me.
Who is supposed to go register, vote. So think of this, it's like the blind leading the blind.
Because some people don't even know that. Some people think that in Ghana we only have two parties.
Yes.
They don't even know that every citizen has a constitutional right. I can go and register to stand as a presidential candidate, an independent. Some people don't even know that.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, the education is just not,
And
as
imagine
robust as
me
it's
turning
supposed to be.
18, and I know it will happen in 2-3 days. But in my mind, at the back of my mind, I know that I can go and register.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it.
Right.
then nothing happened.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's approximating like the blind following the blind. Because at the end of the day, when this guy was online, Kwame should have asked him, then where did I hear this from?
Yes.
Right? Why did I hear this? Why did everybody in this studio.
Yeah.
They all saying
the
they know the same
education
thing.
is not right.
That's what I'm
education
saying.
is
It's
not
not
right.
robust enough.
Yeah.
It's not seeping through to the average person. So at the end of the day, it's like, are we really going to have a free and fair elections?
Yeah.
Because people do not know what they're supposed to know.
No wonder they.
Because somebody's going to say, okay,
election.
I think there's going to be a continued registration, so I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my travels, I'm going to do
then the
certain
time
things.
comes and
then when the time comes, you're like, boom, no, you
But
cannot register.
before we leave, this is where I have a problem with our politicians. Those who have been in the field and they know already. These are some of the things they should be calling it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the political party you belong
Because
to.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that all the young people that Cheddar is fighting for are going to vote for
him.
Some of them are going to vote for you as well.
Exactly.
So it's just.
And we have all these problems in our democratic whatever, and we cannot even find a simple way to solve it out. Even you sitting here, you just gave, okay, let's do it till the end of the particular month.
Yeah.
Let's say a month before the general
August
election.
or something.
So like I said, it wasn't all bad. There were some good points made, but I don't know, overall in general, I didn't feel like this was Kwame at his best.
He got exposed big time.
Yeah, that's what I would say. So anyways, comments down below. We'll be back again with our next episode. DLS out.
Thanks for the support, man.
Peace
Thanks.
out.
Yeah.